Good evening, everyone. My name is Dan Hovek. I'm the chair of the planning board. I'd like to welcome you to the planning board of the town of Harpswell for Wednesday, June 17, 2026, and I will call the meeting to order. Please rise with me as we say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Roll my chair, but it doesn't roll.
I guess that's,
All righty,
Sit
we
at the
have
head table, you
4 items
give
on
up the
the
rolling
agenda
chair.
tonight. We have one item of old business, the Harpswell Heritage Land Trust. 3 items of new business, Tom Reynolds, Woodward Point Properties, and Angela Blair. We do have a quorum. All of the regular members of the planning board are here. And so the associates who are over here can contribute at any time to the meeting, but they do not vote. So I'll just go by and let you introduce yourself.
Jim Babarski.
Lori Falcone.
Courtney Snellings, Debbie Forrester.
Heather Allen.
Christine Donovan Hall.
And I'm Margaret McIntyre, the town planner.
Very good, thank you. Our first item of old business is Harpswell Heritage Land Trust. Darius Selko applicant, map 2, lot 70-1, 153 Harpswell Neck Road. This is a site plan amendment, consideration of an application to expand an existing commercial building, and it's item 26-1-03. Okay. Ms. McIntyre, do you want to give us some background on this?
Miriam, is this working? Am I good? Not good.
You want?
You sound
this
like
one?
a regular voice.
Okay,
share.
she says I'm good. It's
Okay,
fine.
all right.
Is this one better?
Yeah.
Yes.
Much better.
Okay. This application first came in front of the planning board in January of 2026. They proposed to essentially double their area in their headquarters, including additional office space and I think a screened-in porch, and that's going to improve the functionality of the space for them a lot. The planning board found the application to be incomplete, or they might have not even, I can't remember if you guys even made that finding.
Okay.
But we just came kind of with questions about the site itself. What's the erosion? What's the stormwater management plan, that sort of thing. And so I think that they've come back with some additional material for us tonight.
All right. Well, why don't we take care of that, and then at that point, we'll determine that the application is complete, and we'll move on from there. So when you speak, please identify yourself and tell us about the project and those 2 things that Ms. McIntyre mentioned.
Okay, my name is Darius Selko. I'm from Rabbit Run Builders, LLC, and I'm the builder on this project. And I'd like to use my time very wisely to introduce Eric Doobie, who is from Trillium Engineers. He did the civil engineering that you see in front of you. And pretty much every missing piece that we had last time would be handled by Eric, and in partnership with Flycatcher, who there's Rodney from Flycatcher is here today. If you have any specific questions for him later, then he can field those.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Dan, really fast, maybe Debbie could give us some of her site walk notes, because we did have a site walk here on June 8th. We had done a site walk for the January meeting, but it was covered in snow, and so we had an additional site walk. I think that was really helpful.
That's not very useful to give it to me now. I got it.
Thank you.
Are these the notes?
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm new at this note-taking for sidewalks. I didn't know what to include. But yeah, we looked at it, looked at where the placement, Matt explained to us where the placement of the building was gonna be, the additional parking, the road, the entryway. Yeah, we asked a couple questions. I'm not sure. Margaret, I-
Great.
Were there?
What's
That's
your
perfect.
report?
Yeah. there's a-
There wasn't a lot of discussion, it was a
Yeah.
quick,
We're good.
this is this, that is that kind of thing.
All right, thank you. All right,
Sorry, I have this.
Great, thank you.
They changed it. This is new. That's what I just asked them.
Yeah.
If that's easier.
Really?
Yeah.
So I am Eric Doobie with Trillium Engineering, and Darius had called me after the meeting last time. He said, hey, running into a few issues with some of the site in general. And so we get involved and took a look at the site, and then did a survey of the site. Ended up being a drone survey. Worked with wetlands and then worked with the proposed design. That's kind of how we got involved with the whole thing. My apologies about handing half-size plans tonight. We wanted to respond to the comments from the planner. And so we've kind of done that specifically with the wetlands and some of the other comments. So it's not a lot different from what you have, but on the other side, I can go over some of those changes in general and then discuss it. If anybody has questions, certainly just, feel free to interrupt and we can stop and kind of go from there. Sometimes, I know the way I am, I make sure that I'm not forgetting a question, down the road or afterwards or something. So sometimes it's good to hit it right at that time. So I'll take this microphone because the woman had asked me, the IT woman had asked me basically to come in and describe some of these things. So I'll talk in general terms, and then we'll hit some of the notes that Margaret had talked about. So I think everyone's familiar with the site layout, the additional essentially parking and the building addition, and then we've shown, one of the things that was missing was this kitchen expansion, so that's what's different from the big plans that you have to the small plans that you have. We also showed a bulkhead, on the proposed building, and that's also highlighted here. And what that does is that updates between those two things and a couple other small things, that updates our, max impervious. So the true number comes out to be about 6146 square feet increase versus what was shown before.
Where's the kitchen? I'm sorry, I was still trying to get this
No
map.
problem at all. So the kitchen addition is basically at the rear of the existing building. So
Right here,
that would be
right
on
here.
C101.
yeah, there.
And you've
No, I'm
moved the
sorry.
shed again.
Thank you.
Every
We-
plan I have, the shed's in a different place.
We hope this is the last spot. So yes, we did move the shed. So it was originally over in like the wetlands, and then we had moved it on your version to over here, but then, basically, this happened in the last day, so forgive us on that. But basically moved that shed to the high spot adjacent to the parking lot. So basically the higher area of the site is over where the existing septic field is. And, so they wanted to provide that with the ramp over there.
But then there's a plan that says the septic system is gonna be moved.
We'll discuss that a little bit
Okay.
more in detail, but
Okay?
yes, so, so basically with the high spot being here, and then we have additional parking with minimal clearing that we're trying to do. We eliminated from the plan that you see, we eliminated a few spaces here, and that's to minimize the wetland disturbance, so we wouldn't have to apply for the DEP permit and get, and then also to try to minimize as much as possible within the parking area and really limit the disturbance of the grading and the building itself. So that's what we're doing. Then just to kind of talk about that a little bit more, our total wetland disturbance essentially went down to 4,213 square feet versus the 4,500 square feet. So that gets us under the 4,300 square foot threshold. It was an easy thing for us to do, and then also be able to pull the grading back and then provide a level lip spreader, which is basically a BMP to help with that, the stormwater treatment in general, so.
BMP?
Best management practice.
Thank
You're
you.
doing what what's the BMP?
So we have level lip spreader on both of the down gradient sides of the parking area. So we also rearranged the walkways a little bit to come into the side of the parking area. One of the questions that was raised about pedestrian access. And so we're not providing sidewalks within the parking area itself. We're trying to limit the impervious in general on the site. So we're really just in the minimal traffic that we have on the entire site. People are gonna get out of their cars and they're gonna walk across the gravel surface and then into the pathway and then into the entrance front part of the building. So that's what we've done there. Again, you can see we're trying to shed water all the way over to our treatment areas and then basically where it goes now, which is in the wetland detention areas. And then we're keeping this existing storm drain, which is gonna be able to go over to that level spreader and then be able to dump over to the side. We had a note replacing these entrance culverts, and at this point, I think it was probably a little miscommunication between Darius and I about that. That it wanted to be done, but I've taken a look at those. Doesn't need to be done. There's some rust on them. They're arched culverts. They're not squatted. They're not the total deterioration. They're still functioning. So for the price of doing that during this, it's roughly around 20 to 30,000. We said no, it's because those can be replaced at any time if they have issues down the road. They're kind of separate from this project and can be dealt with. So that's a change that you've seen from your drawings to what we have tonight as well. So.
If I may interrupt you, are you not widening the driveway then? I thought that was part of the widening the entry.
We are widening the driveway, but the culverts are long enough to be able to take that.
Okay.
So we have our new wetland impact shown here. We have our new parking layout. We adjusted the number of parking spaces in general. One of the things that talking with planning, they'd mentioned that we need 31 spaces for this, so we are at 31 spaces for the development. And again, we're trying to, but one of the challenges that we've been running into, and I know it's not just the 20% impervious, or lot coverage, but it's not just this town, but it's other towns too, is that you have a limited lot coverage piece, but then you have a parking requirement. And those two don't always mesh, unfortunately. It's just the nature of the beast. So in this case here, we're trying to do, obviously we're over the 20%. We're trying to get it down to the 20%. We just couldn't do it with the parking demands and everything else and the layout. So that's why we're at the 24% of what you see. And so with that, we've tried to incorporate these, leave the natural buffers as much as possible, especially with the neighbors over in here, improve the roadway, improve the parking area, and then basically treat the stormwater before it gets into essentially this forested wetland. So that's essentially our intent on that.
So the impervious surface has actually been increased slightly. I think, good Lord, I think it was 23.9 before, and now it's 24, unless you rounded up. I was hoping to see it had been reduced. We may have ideas for that.
We
Thank
did
you.
too, but unfortunately, when you add the kitchen in, that was missed. When you add in the bulkhead, when you add in the shed and the ramp, that's where, and again, we're talking about, the problem is with these numbers, you're talking about small numbers in general. So I mean, 6,100 square foot increase is smaller than a house lot when you take the driveway and the house, into it, so.
I see the problem, but we still have a number that we require that you reach.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, I guess that's, if we want to, we can jump into that. Actually, let's talk about septic, just a little bit more about that, and then we can jump into the stormwater piece. So septic, what we have for septic, and I've got to, forgive me, I'm not a septic engineer, septic designer. So what we have existing is 215 gallons per day, and for the existing system. So by adding in the shower, essentially what we're increasing it to, with the full-time employees, is 246 gallons per day. So it's 31 gallon per day increase on this. Of course, that's utilizing the fact of using 6 employees that are all gonna take showers. So 31 gallons per day. If we didn't have the shower, then we could reduce it to essentially, less than 200 gallons per day on this particular thing, because it's basically 8 gallons per day per 6 employees. So that's what we have basically in the septic design. In this case here, our choices are 2, at least from our perspective. One of them would be to replace the septic system, the entire septic system, which is expensive, intrusive, everything else. Or the other thing to do would be to monitor the system, because, typically you're not going to use typically 6 people are not gonna use the shower every day, all 6 employees. So what it's set up there for now is for, if there are people that come in that have been outside that are not there, basically come in and be able to rinse off before they go home. So that's the setup, and that's what essentially they're trying to do. So those are the 2 choices before us, and I guess we'll leave it to you to decide, but we'd rather not replace the system for $20,000+ for an increase of 31 gallons per day. We'd rather be able to monitor it and then report back.
So to clarify, are you or are you not replacing the septic? I hear that you're leaving it up to us, but what are you guys proposing to do? Because what you guys are saying has to match what our findings are.
So we would like not to replace the septic system. And
Okay.
when I say we leave it up to you, I mean, it's not, you're not designing for us. I'm saying, you have the authority to do whatever the decision is, and then be able to tell us, what to do. We're giving you data points saying we're increasing it by 31 gallons per day, but we would like to retain the existing septic system and not spend that, those dollars in that. We'd like to put in a monitoring program and then report back.
The only thing my only feeling about that is the septic that's there, I think, was designed for 1 employee and 100 people in the meeting room, I think. No?
Someone shake.
I mean, I have one. I have it here somewhere, I can pull it up. But I think that we would just have to make sure that it still matches. The whole point is to make all the numbers match. Do the number of butts and seats in the meeting room, match what the fire marshal says you can have, match what the parking says, and match what the septic says. So all those numbers have to come together, and maybe the existing septic is adequate and maybe it's not, but that's part of our review process, is to make sure all those things match up. So that, we all understand the expectation of what's gonna happen there.
Absolutely. So that's the septic on that. So, and then, I guess, is there any other questions on that piece specifically? You can process that and think about that a little bit.
Have you had the septic inspected? No. You've had a replacement design done, but you haven't.
Right, the idea was to have the replacement design and, hand that into the town, and monitor the system, and if there were to be a failure, you have the replacement design ready to go. That's why we did the replacement design, and that we're asking for us not to do it, because it's just barely over. And again, it's designed for, the numbers were for 100 people in assembly and 1 employee, and the numbers still match with 5 full-time employees, 1 part-time employee, and 63 people in assembly, which is a matching from the fire code of 69 people. That's still under, with the shower, it's just 31 gallons per day over, so it's all gallons per day. So if we had an assembly of 63 people and everybody took a shower and everybody used the toilet every single day, then we'd be 31 gallons over.
Thank you.
Weren't there 2 showers? I have many documents. that,
The outside shower is being dismantled and,
Okay, because
taken down.
it seemed like that was in question, like
Yeah.
it was under discussion, and I was wondering, oh, so this is an inside shower we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Which means we're removing the outdoor shower,
Yeah.
but it didn't go in the plumbing system. So it's more of like a rinse that we just mentioned on that. Good. Any other questions on that piece?
Yeah, how much was the outside shower being utilized? Not
3 times per year.
okay. I wasn't sure if that was like already contributing at all. Thank you.
There are a lot of ticks out now.
Hooked up to garden hoses. And to my knowledge, over 19 years, the land trust has never had trouble with the septic system.
What's the age of the septic system?
Wait.
If you're
well,
gonna talk, you
Yeah,
have to.
no, you can talk. The IT lady is just asking if you go to a microphone.
Yeah.
What is the age of the septic system?
the septic system was installed in 2006 with the construction of the building.
Okay,
All right, good.
go on.
Okay, thank you. So we talked a little bit about the drainage and the stormwater. So basically, we have high section that's over here. We have a gravel parking area. We're gonna have stone dust paths. And then we're gonna continue to have a gravel parking and drive area. But it's impervious area. It's counted as that. It's 95% compacted and things like that. So we discussed using, so beyond this as a natural LID treatment, we discussed using like impervious pavers, things like that, right? So the problem with LID in general, so LID is great. I use it all the time in a lot of designs. Works great, except when you're in basically a lot like this, like we're talking about. So you're using natural filters. You usually have a little more elevation. You don't have a high groundwater table. So when you have a rural site like this, it's hard to implement those things, and it's even it's even hard to implement the level load spreader like you see on the detail in C200. So when you have you have scantic soils, it's a D soil, CD soils essentially. It means a lot of clay, holds water for a while. That's what makes wetlands, things like that. And then you have, with that, you have the high water table. Yeah, so up over in here, we have the buildings on the high point, and we're raising this building. It works out great. But when we have the high water table and the underlying soils that they're not free draining and don't drain well, and we don't have the elevation, it's fairly flat until you get out of here. It's very hard to utilize a rain garden type situation, because a rain garden you typically need 2 to 4 feet somewhere in there, because you need to build up your filter. You need elevation for the storage of the stormwater itself. You have basically your filtration media, and then you usually have a pipe underneath, because you don't want to just have the pond and then just extend the pipe out, because you're not getting any actual treatment. All you're doing is circulating the water. You do get a little bit of dropout from the suspended solids in ponds and high rain events, but for the most part, you're not getting the treatment unless you go through some sort of filter media. So you've probably seen different types of detention ponds where some have exits out, Some have exits high, and some you don't see any exits, you just see the overflow. What they do is they're going down to basically perforated pipes, and then you're able to exit down further downstream. And then you have, what happens is you have clean water that, mostly clean water that exit that system. We don't have that opportunity here to do this, so we're trying to get some treatment through this riprap level spreader to be able to get that first treatment.
Could you please explain what a level lip spreader is?
So C200 has the detail. So it basically has this inflow where you come in over the top. It's all level across the entire strip. And then you have a lip where it sheet flows. It's able to build up in that and then able to sheet flow over the side. So you're trying to capture any of your suspended solids or pollutants within the riprap and the stone itself.
Okay.
And typically, you're gonna build it up a little bit with leaf dutter too over time, and you get a little natural treatment from that too. So,
Okay.
most rain events, what you're doing, if anybody has noticed when you're driving, so most of your pollutants are getting washed out within the first, 25 minutes of a storm. So for instance, if you haven't had rain in a while and people drive down, you have oil leaks or something like that, and they'll be on the road for a little bit. Then that rain comes, and then they'll shed off both sides, and then that's where you get most of those pollutants that you're trying to trap at that particular point. So you're gonna get, in the first rainstorm here, you're gonna get some of that happens. We have a little bit of buffer between that parking, natural buffer here, and then it'll come into the spreaders, and then essentially be able to dump out and into the wetlands. The spreaders do slow it down too, the rain events as well, so that helps a little bit, so.
Does it spread it evenly, or does it come out in a focus point?
It does spread it evenly.
Okay.
I mean, I say that, in a perfect world,
Yeah.
we're building things exactly
Designed to
flat.
spread things
It's
evenly.
designed to spread things evenly, so.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, the other thing about, pervious pavers. So, if anybody's ever driven into the LL Bean, the main office area, they have a ton of pervious pavers. There used to be an old restaurant in there and everything else. That's actual pavement set up to do that. They're set up to, so what happens is, in Maine and in New England, it's not, from my perspective, it's not a great solution because we have a lot of sand and salt that people put down. Now, LL Bean doesn't do that because they know in their pervious pavers that it doesn't work. So, or they have to, what it does, it clogs up that filter media of where it drains through. But they also have vacuum trucks that come out and have to clean that every spring. So they actually have vacuum trucks that go and do that. In most places, it doesn't work in New England. So in this particular case, we talked about that with Darius and just said, it'd be great to do it, but we already have a gravel lot. So what's gonna happen is people are gonna drive from the gravel and then pull it right onto these pervious pavers, and then what are you gaining? Because it's gonna clog up a lot faster. So, and that's without them pouring any sand or salt and, on that. So that's why we decided not to show it and leave it as impervious and then add in these treatment. The other thing is, and I know we don't like to talk about that, but these wetlands are natural storage. So we have a natural storage. We're talking about an actual LID, natural forest and wetland storage, that's right next to us. That's how the site works now. That's how the site is gonna continue to work. So what we're trying to do is slow some of that water down through this, through essentially the level of spreader and be able to gain some treatment on that. So that's what we presented, to you folks as what we think is the best management practice for this particular site.
So that's the low-impact development. That's sort of the size of it?
That's the size of it.
No green infrastructure. I couldn't help noticing that on one of my many rolls of paper, it could have been from you folks, there was various types of grass that was suggested for the lawn or whatever. Shrubs, I believe, do a lot better job at taking in water. Grass, not
Yes.
so much.
Yes.
Is there any, I'm not really good at reading these things.
Yeah.
And I wasn't able to go to the last site walk. I probably would have asked that question or would have
Sure.
seen what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Is there any place that plants could be put that would help? That would also perhaps get your number down somewhat. but I can't tell you where it would be because I can't visualize that.
So we have
Thank
some
you.
natural stabilization with just some loam and seed and grasses before it gets in there, so we have some of that. But I'll say, just looking at, if you did the site walk and looking out there, you have a lot of natural plants everywhere around the site. I mean, it is very wooded out there. So there is a lot of natural vegetation, which is, again, I mean, the natural, what we're talking about, is the best LID treatment. So we already have it there. We can plant additional plants if you'd like us to, happy to do that in strategic areas, you know, like next to the building and stuff in here. But I mean, if this area is just kind of covered with those type of plants and really
You
works
have a
well.
lot of trees, and I saw that, although you also propose taking some trees out. And I was going to ask how much you were taking out, but in terms of what's already there,
Sure.
you are adding, you're adding more impervious surface. So
Yes.
what's already there isn't going to take care of what you're putting there, if that makes any sense.
There's an overabundance of what's there to be able to
Okay.
handle that.
Mhm.
So it handles it now, it'll continue to handle it, plus this, you know, the 6,000 square feet that we're talking about. So
Wait, 6,000 square feet? is the-
6150
is
of
the
additional
addition. But you're
impervious.
also adding impervious surface with the extended parking lot.
No, 6150 is in everything,
That includes the parking lot.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so that includes, yeah, it includes the kitchen, the shed, ramp, the walkways here, the building, and the additional parking that we're talking about. Because a lot of, again, we're comparing existing, which is the sheet before, to the proposed. So, and that's listed right here in this, essentially this impervious table. So I agree with you, plants, grasses, trees, all great natural LID buffers, and that's why, again, we've chosen this, you know, kind of this setup for this. Well, we didn't choose it, I guess the site chose itself, but and that's why we've located things. So, you know, initially, for instance, they had the parking over in this area, and then said, no, we want to reduce the impact into that resource. So basically took it and then relayed out the parking and expanded it, and then be able to get this configuration that you see in front of us.
Okay.
So I think that's most of the points that we talked about. Is that, Margaret, I don't know if there's, I'm trying to think if there was any other major points besides those.
Does that answer the questions that you'd raised, Margaret?
Yeah, I think one of them is just understanding that the wetland that is there is natural green infrastructure and that no additional green infrastructure needs to be added. It's kind of what I'm gathering. It's not,
When we say natural green, you mean like LID, other LID stuff?
well,
beyond that?
we have a definition of green infrastructure in our ordinance, and it is an approach to water management that protects, restores, or mimics the natural water cycle. Examples are rain gardens, permeable pavements, green roofs, infiltration planters, trees and tree boxes, rainwater harvesting systems such as rain barrows, bioswales, as well as preservation and restoration of natural landscapes, such as forests, floodplains, and wetlands.
Got it. So the mimics is the piece that I guess I've been talking about. The mimic is essentially the existing cover treatment that we have. So we don't need to mimic it, it's already there and being utilized. So that's what we're trying to, let me say it this way. I don't want to put a shovel in the ground to dig something up, to basically plant something that is already there. So with that, I can turn it over to you.
Yeah.
Thank
Is
you.
that- Yeah, I just want to make sure that the issues that you raised, Margaret, have been answered.
For now?
Okay,
Yeah.
because that all went to the question of whether
Yeah.
the
The application is complete.
application is complete.
Yeah, that, this, I guess I kind of had two questions. One, what were they gonna do pervious pavers, which they're not. It's been a long day, guys. And then the other thing is I obviously have not done a ton of commercial development, non-residential development. And so to me, every experience is kind of a learning experience. But I just remember on Andrew Donnelly's property, when he hired Sightlines, they did a calculation of the stormwater that was gonna be generated by the development and proved that the stormwater was gonna be handled on the site.
Okay.
This application didn't include such a calculation, but maybe it did?
This
No?
application did not.
Okay.
I can tell you we just did a recent site that is very similar to this with a level lip spreader. So with the 6,100 square feet, what we're gonna get is an increase of about, somewhere probably around 0.3 CFS in a 25-year storm. 1 CFS is 1 cubic feet per second. That's in the worst case, and then it goes up and then down. The goal is to not increase onto the neighbor's property, and that's essentially what we're talking about. And based on the acreage of what we have for the wetlands, I didn't see an issue with that specifically, but we can certainly provide that.
No, I'm satisfied as long as everyone else is.
All right.
I had maybe a suggestion. Since you had said, I don't know whether we should be looking at your findings at this point. I'm not really sure whether I'm out of order.
A little, we're still working on completeness.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think.
I'm out of order. I get it.
Okay. Upon the recommendation of the planner, I move that the planning board find that the submission requirements are complete. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor? Well, all in favor, we have to, because we're doing this by way of Zoom, we have to do it by, yes. Okay. Dan Hobeck, yes?
Courtney Snellings, yes?
Debbie Forster, yes.
Heather Allen, yes.
Christine Donovan Hall, yes.
Okay. Now we can get to the meat of it. All right. We have site plan review standards. All right. Would you, Margaret, would you talk about that a little bit? Because there were a number of things that you mentioned in the context of dimensional requirements, et cetera.
I think that they've solved it by putting all the features on the site plan. To me, it's just really important that all the documents match. So in 10 years, when none of us are doing this, so we'll look at it and say, why is the kitchen on this one, but the kitchen's not on that one? And so just to have all that match up is important.
All right. So what we're up to right now is to discuss findings of fact conformance with site plan review requirements. And that is sections 15.1 through 15.7?
You're not doing conformance with submission, are we beyond that? Just want to make sure we're looking at the
just-
same document.
Okay, I'm looking at something different than you are.
I know, I'm sure you're probably right and I'm not.
Yeah, this is the amended one that she did
When'd you get that?
on the website. I'm not sure we're looking at the same thing here, because I've just gone through the conformance with submission requirements, which leads us to, which you've said have been taken care of, which leads us then to the findings of fact, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So that's conformance with site plan review standards, which is 15.1, et cetera. So the recommendation, and we'll get to questions and motions in a moment, but what the planner is recommending is to say that 15.1 dimensional requirements are met. Oh, wait.
I
No.
can revise the findings for you.
What?
I'll revise them for you. Hold on just a
This
second.
is what I have, but
Okay,
there is something about this missing the following submission requirements, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah,
we just
blah.
talked about those.
Right, but the question is that going to be provided someplace in writing? That's what I want to know.
I think weren't those provided? Those additional submission requirements?
Okay, this is what I'm looking at. The application includes stormwater management provisions, but lacks a narrative explaining how the provisions will adequately manage stormwater, blah, blah. That's on the findings.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if that is there someplace.
Did you guys provide a narrative?
We haven't, but we can do that if that's a condition. Be happy to do that.
Well,
Remember that section 15.16 of the shoreline zoning ordinance that requires a written stormwater
This is where.
and erosion control plan that I sent to Darius in an email?
Yeah, so the erosion control plan is on this C-101. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Is that adequate? Because if it isn't, I would suggest that you or somebody provide an example of the kind of narrative that we're looking for. Because what it says right now is it's missing the narrative.
Right.
But if you guys are just saying it, but you don't have it written, that might not be adequate.
We can, that's why I said we can provide that as a condition of approval for the narrative piece. What we will do is provide this plan that you have in front of you. That's not going to change from tonight.
Right, thank you.
And as the follow-up documentation that you were just referring to.
Okay, Courtney, I talked with the applicant in response to my draft motions the other day.
Yep.
And I think that this page, as long as you amended it to include temporary and permanent erosion control measures? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Is this on this new one? Probably something I can't read because the writing's so small.
It does
It was,
say,
it was on the original one that he sent out.
Yes, I marked that up.
Right, and then we talked about providing some additional permanent erosion control measures, because that's what the written plan calls for, and I think that as long as that's in here, then that's adequate.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's, I'll rely on you for
it's
that.
really hard to read, but if you look at the back, it's,
It's like in .4 font.
Okay.
yeah.
I looked at these at home, but I didn't know whether they were different because I can't read this.
So the
It's
note
obviously-
page, I'll clarify about
Yeah.
a little bit.
Thank you.
So the note page, which is the C-300, which is the detail and notes page, has not changed.
Okay.
Though, but some of the notes that, that Margaret was talking about have been added to this plan. Silt fence was already there for, temporary during construction, but she also wanted to see some of the loam and seed and notes on that. So we have added that, but we can make sure that I'll make sure that's very clear on the C-101.
All right. So now we're in conformance with site plan review standards, and the first one is 15.1 dimensional requirements. And Margaret's notes, it says that the applicant exceeds the 20% lot coverage standard of BLUO section 11.1.1. Would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, yep. Yeah. Yes, I'm just, can propose some new ones. See, it's really hard for us to get material right when the meeting starts, because it creates a lot of confusion.
That's why I apologize up
Yeah.
front. I don't like
This is
doing
just
that.
it's gonna be a little more confusing for everybody. So how about for this, section 15.1? This standard is met based on the following findings. The applicant exceeds the 20% lot coverage standards in conformance with the basic land use ordinance section 11.1.1.3, which is the section that allows you to go up to 50%
Okay.
for non-residential development. And section 15.9 of the site plan review ordinance, that's about stormwater management.
All right.
And all structures meet the property boundary and road setbacks.
All right. Any further discussion on that? We'll vote on the entire section at the end. I just want to make sure we get a chance to go through everything. 15.2, utilization of the site. Again, there was then there was a question about the mapped wetland.
The right one.
It's a little bit over.
Yeah, I know.
Where,
He said
And
that
that
was
amount
reduced.
changed.
That they're not
That would
reduced.
reduce
was-
to 4,200, I believe.
42 and change.
Correct.
all right.
I'll
so-
give you the exact number. 4,213 square feet, and that is noted on the C-101.
At 24.
Okay.
40. What was
Okay,
it,
so the standard is
42?
met based on the map, wetland of the site which the applicant
Right, but they
proposes to fill with,
4,213 square feet.
all right.
I am not to, as Amy Hybo would say, belabor this point, but I am, whenever an applicant's nickel and diming us over feet, you know, it becomes a little bit of a hard thing to try to enforce. I just want to put that out there. I'm sure you guys will do it correctly, but it's some of these spots where you kind of cut out fill. I wonder how that actually is gonna end up looking on the ground, you know? Do you know what I'm saying?
Because common sense, you actually usually make more of an impact than you
Or
plan to
like
make.
sometimes when you have the edge of the wetland less than a foot from the edge of the road, from the edge of the parking lot, how are you really gonna actually achieve that? Obviously, you've left yourself a little wiggle room, but.
So, yeah, that's a good question. And I guess if it was any other client, I might have a little more of an issue with that. But since it's the Harpswell Heritage Land Trust that they want to keep it natural as possible, I think they're going to be on top of the contractor to make sure that we're not, I guess, going over those lines in general. So we try to give a little buffer. So for instance, if you put a line on paper that there's a new contour or edge of, let's just say gravel, you're not going right up to that wetland disturbance line, because I agree with you, there's just no way that's going to happen on that particular side. So we try to give, if you look at this plan, we try to get a little more of a buffer, a few feet from that. The other way to do it is to have a surveyor come out or the wetland delineator come out and delineate it with flags and say, we're not touching, put these flags along
specifically these edges of where we're very close, and we don't want, that's why we pulled this out here, because we had grading that came all the way across this parking area.
Right.
So that's why we decided to eliminate those 3 parking spaces, or those 4, I'm sorry, that were right here, and then put it on the end where we're far away from this wetland impact, so.
I would just tell the board that there's one other way that we can make sure that they stick to the numbers, and that would be through inspection assistance for the codes office.
All right.
It's a provision that that the voters of Harpswell adopted into the ordinance maybe in 2024. So I think the surveyor model is great. They could hire their own surveyor to come out, or whoever is a fly catcher or a regular surveyor, and they could mark the edge of where the edge of the fill is going to be. The other way would be the applicant would basically pay a percentage of the total cost of the project to cover inspection assistance for the codes office, and that would allow us to send our town's consulting engineer out to perform some inspection on the stormwater and whatever we say, but I think stormwater and fill, that sort of thing.
Okay, what would be your recommendation?
I think either way is probably sufficient.
Well, the first way would be significantly less expensive, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
My advice would be to have Flycatcher go out and actually mark them with wooden stakes instead of just the small flags.
Yeah.
And literally put wetland flags and say, look, you're not going beyond this.
Right.
Because then it's a visual, Flycatcher has to do this accurately, wetland mapping. And then it's a visual that everybody can see, especially the person in the excavator. That's the best way from my experience.
I like the way you think. I
Yeah.
mean, the more ways we can avoid impacting wetlands
Yeah.
and take care of the stormwater, the better.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, well then, at that point then, we can state that the standard is met based on the reduced amount of fill, which we've discussed today, and the marking of the wetland area by Flycatcher, correct? The planner also noted that the standard is also met based on the finding that the vernal pool on site has been surveyed and was determined to not be significant.
Yeah, I'm just curious why it's not significant if they actually did find salamander eggs.
Hi, good evening. I'm Rodney Kelshaw from Flycatcher, and I was the one that performed the wetland delineation and the vernal pool survey. And so for a vernal pool to be considered significant in Maine, that's a Maine state rule. It has to be natural, and it has to, it can't be a permanent water body, so it's natural, ephemeral, and there are certain numbers of egg masses that so you go out and you count the number of egg masses. If it has a rare, threatened, or endangered species like a spotted turtle or something like that, that would make it significant. If there are fairy shrimp in it, that automatically makes it significant. Aside from that, if you have 40 wood frog egg masses, over 20 spotted salamander, or over 10 blue spotted salamander egg masses, then it would be a significant vernal pool. In this situation, I think there were either 3 or 7 spotted salamander egg masses. So it didn't meet the environmental or the wildlife criteria to be significant.
Thank you, that was excellent.
Dan, can I amend your findings? Okay.
Where the salamander
This is what I'm
was.
proposing. The standards met based on the following findings. There is a map wetland on the site of which the applicant proposes to fill 4,213 square feet. The vernal pool on the site has been surveyed and was determined to be not significant. And marking of how about the boundary of the wetland fill?
Yes.
Okay. The boundary of the wetland is one thing, but the boundary of the wetland fill, I think, is what we're after.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, so when we vote, it'll be the amended findings of the town plan. Adequacy of road system, which is 15.3. Standard is met based on finding that no additional traffic will be generated by the expansion. 15.4, access to the site. The standard is met based on the finding that the expanded entrance has received preliminary approval by the Maine Department of Transportation and will be constructed as specified in the Maine Department of Transportation permit.
That has to change because
Yeah.
they're not expanding their driveway now.
Yeah, they're not expanding it now.
Well, they're widening it, they're just not putting in a second driveway.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
So they are expanding.
Oh, never mind, you're right, sorry.
Okay.
Shoot, we
You
don't
were
have to
wrong,
fight
you were
that.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
15.5,
We help each
Do they
other.
have a DOT permit?
no,
Yeah.
they have like a preliminary approval.
Oh, okay.
They're just reviewing the engineering of the culvert or whatever, right, Darius?
Yeah, that was the piece I was talking about earlier, where I've reviewed it at this point. My recommendation is to leave the 2 culverts.
Okay. So it's not necessary to get a different permit from,
Now,
DOT because.
we received an email back from the engineer regarding the fact that we were widening it, and said, yeah, they went out, looked at it, and Darius got
Great.
an email, said, looks fine.
Great, thanks.
Okay, I might mention at this point that we're going through this stuff in a lot more detail than typically is required because of the significance of the project. So please bear with us. We want to make sure that we have a very good record when we vote, so that
Yeah.
everything is clear. 15.5, access, egress, way, location, and spacing. Standard is met based on the finding that access to the site is existing and no additional access is proposed. 15.6, internal vehicular circulation. Standard is met based on the finding that the expanded parking lot will widen the access way, increasing circulation on the site. 15.7, parking. Standard is met due to the following findings. Due to the similarity and intensity of use, using the standard as set forth for church and school assembly rooms, a 63-seat assembly room requires 21 spaces, 1 space per 3 feet. The 5 full-time employees plus 5 seasonal employees require 10 spaces, and the site will have 33 spaces.
I think, no, it's 31 now.
31 now.
31 now.
They reduced it to
Okay,
take up less surface.
okay, that's
It still
still,
meets it, but
it still
just
meets
to
it.
note
And the
that
site will
should-
have
yeah.
31 spaces.
Yeah.
So if we can make that change on the recommendation from the planner?
But, sorry, but you're saying there's only one seasonal employee on site, right? Because that goes to the septic question. So does that need, so, the 5 full-time employees plus one
It's not
One
5.
on-site employee? Does that sound okay? Anyone?
Wait,
Did you
5
mean one
full-time employees
seasonal
plus 1 seasonal
Seasonal.
employee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
to clarify, one seasonal employee that's on-site,
right.
4 off-site.
I just want that to match the septic numbers, so when we go back later, we'll say,
Yeah.
you know,
One
what-
seasonal.
if we say 5 seasonal employees here and only 1 seasonal employee in the septic section, it won't match.
Yeah, just want to make sure that, you know,
One.
we all understand it's 1 seasonal on-site, 4 seasonal
Right.
off-site.
Seasonal
Thank you.
employee.
Okay, so you're making these little changes as we go along, right,
She's writing
Margaret?
it down.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the 5 full-time employees plus 1 on-site seasonal employee requires 6 spaces.
Okay. 15.7.2, layout and design. Standard is met based on the following findings. New parking area meets the setback requirements. The proposed stall width is 8 feet 6 inches. The proposed stall depth is 18 feet 6 inches. The aisle within
Width.
is 12 feet in each direction. 15.8, pedestrian circulation. The standard is met based on the finding that both the original and new section of the building can be accessed from the parking lot through a pedestrian walkway. 15.9, stormwater management. The standard is met based on the finding that the applicant provided a stormwater plan.
Let's see.
I suggested an example in this case
Okay.
as well, because of what you had said, does not demonstrate how the stormwater generated by the development will be adequately contained. And if they had something to look at, like we're looking for something like this, maybe that would help you guys. Would help me.
We can add the stormwater storage component on the actual plan. We've added some drainage arrows. We have the stormwater with the grading and drainage and basically the stormwater level lip spreaders that we've added. So we've got most of the components except for the storage portion, which we can add on this plan based on this.
Isn't the storage just the wetland?
Correct.
Okay.
But we can add that on the plan, showing that.
Provided,
Is that adequate, Margaret, or do we need something
I
that's
think she's-
written?
I think she's trying to write now.
All right,
Oh.
I'd say the standard is met based on the finding that the applicant provided a stormwater plan utilizing lid and green infrastructure.
That's good.
Okay.
Did you have a
Well, there's
question?
no real green infrastructure.
there isn't any
There's the
green.
lid
Oh.
thing, but,
No.
I mean.
Well, the green infrastructure is just the wetland.
Well, maybe you could refer to that. I mean, if I were looking at
Okay.
this later on, I wouldn't know that that's.
Okay,
Yeah, they didn't add anything.
okay.
Okay,
Wetland's just gonna get more water in it.
15.10 erosion control, the standard is met based on the finding that the applicant has provided an erosion and sedimentation control plan in conformance with section 15.16 of the shoreline zoning ordinance. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I think we should reference it. which-
C300.
Thank you.
I have
Yeah.
not met, so you just changed it based
Yeah.
on our chat.
Yes.
Okay, just checking.
On plan page C300.
Excellent.
That way we'll know where to look for it.
Good.
15.11, water supply and groundwater protection. This standard is met based on the finding that the expansion will not increase groundwater usage on the site. 15.12, subsurface waste disposal. And that deals with the,
But we need to look at the bottom because it was for 5 seasonal workers.
Right, and their argument is that there's only one seasonal worker on the site.
And they're 31 gallons over. And,
One.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe,
I mean,
If-
maybe we need to like be explicit about it, but 31 gallons.
Yeah.
I think we should ask the LPI what his professional opinion is.
Oh,
To tell you the truth, out the,
who are you?
Yeah.
Identify yourself.
Tony Simmons, CEO, LPI.
Thank you.
What we had looked before was meeting the standards. I don't have the flow capacities in front of me here, so I don't know for sure. Right now, we have to review it and check. But I think, from what I understood at the site visit, that it was meeting the requirements. But I can't tell you right now because I don't have the flow in front of me.
Okay.
You say something about codes?
Yeah. Standards met based on the finding that the, I think we could say that the standards met based on the finding that the applicant's updated septic, based on the finding that, okay. The standards based on the finding that the, it's hard because you don't want to reference the new one with the new gallons per day. This, 15.12.2 says that they need to prove that an adequate wastewater disposal system can be constructed. This is kind of getting into the thick of things, but because they're not in the shoreline zone, and I don't know if this is for commercial or just residential, but there is a provision in the state plumbing code where you can, if you want to expand your structure, and I know this is for residential, but not sure about commercial. If you want to expand your structure, you can get a septic designer to design you an expanded septic system, but you don't have to install it. Instead, you record it at the registry of deeds. So I think that if codes was comfortable with that, it could be a method, and if it applied to commercial properties.
okay.
So I think it could be met.
Were you talking about monitoring?
And the monitoring that they spoke to earlier.
Right. I mean, obviously, they're not gonna have a failed septic, I think. Yeah.
No, those present problems, specifically on the uphill side.
Yeah.
It's gonna, what'll happen if it fails, just kind of further that discussion, is it's gonna leach into the parking area.
And into the wetland. Fun for the wetland.
Well, the good thing is it's got gravel before that, so it'll treat it a little bit.
It'll filter.
Yep. Gravel's a natural filter.
I don't know how to make the findings on the fly for this one. It's a little bit harder.
You have to refer,
On
maybe
what, on
refer them to the
15-12?
codes or something? I
Trying to
don't
do
know.
that as a septic system.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Can we say that met based on submitting something to the codes? Like,
I just don't, yeah, I don't know how codes will handle it. Can we skip this one? I'm gonna work on it. I'm gonna workshop
Okay.
it. Well, you guys move along.
I mean,
Margaret, one of the things I would recommend is maybe to have a septic inspection as a condition of approval, just to see how the existing septic field is functioning.
Yeah, I just don't know if we can, how to phrase it that codes will handle it, like, that's what I'm kind of working on,
Got it?
yeah.
I mean, how often would codes be monitoring it? Would you check it then, Tony? Is that the story, or would HHLT check it?
Engineer that you were gonna set up a monitoring system for your water usage.
Oh,
Yeah,
so it's
I
not a
think
human
it would be
monitor.
the owner to do exactly what we just talked about, which is basically do an initial inspection and then monitor it.
Okay.
Kept an eye on it and knew that you weren't going over what your flow was now for the first year, then we'd know you're within the ballpark.
I would agree. The other thing that happens is if you have more people taking showers, for instance, than you expected, then you probably want to watch that a little bit more. I mean, it's kind of common sense on that usage, but.
All right, we'll let Margaret finish working on that while we see if we can
Right.
get,
Hold
Yeah.
on one second.
you have it?
Okay, assuming that you can do the expanded recorded system without having to install it, I think that that's the best way to go about it. So could we say the applicant provided an expanded septic design, and the septic design will be reviewed and approved by the LPI?
So you all already got the expanded septic design, or you were?
Yeah,
yeah, they did.
Cool.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, great.
Assuming, because the way it works is that the LPI would permit it, and then it gets recorded, and so it's kind of proving that it met the septic standards when it was permitted, and then it's good until it gets installed. Yeah,
I like that.
okay.
Okay.
And then maybe a septic inspection?
Initial and said,
Yeah,
you said initial.
okay.
I mean, it's 20 years, and Darius and I talked about that. I think it's a good idea.
Well, while you have, yeah, and then if there is issues, while you have the excavator on site, it will get replaced.
Correct.
Right, the applicant will have a septic inspection, will complete a septic inspection within 6 months and provide the results to the LPI.
Good.
All right.
All right, 1513, utilities and essential services. The standard is met based on the finding that the essential services are existing on the site and no changes are proposed. 15.14, natural features and buffering. Standard is met based on the finding that the expansion project will maintain much of the natural buffering on the site. 15.15, lighting. The standard is met based on the finding that the lighting on the site will be limited to sconce lighting at building egresses and a downcast light on the street sign. 15.16, water quality protection. Standard is met based on the finding that no uses on the lot will jeopardize water quality. 15.17, hazardous special and radioactive materials. Standard is met based on the finding that no hazardous special or radioactive materials will be on site. 15.18, solid, special, and hazardous waste disposal. Standard is met based on the finding that the waste from the site will be taken to the Harpswell Recycling Center and Transfer Station. 15.19, historic and archaeological resources. The standard is met based on the finding that no significant sites have been identified on the property. 15.20, floodplain management. Standard is met based on the finding that no portion of the site is located within a special flood hazard area. 1521, technical and financial capacity. The standard is met based on the finding that Harpswell Heritage Land Trust is a well-established nonprofit. 15.22, additional standards for Mitchell Field Marine District. The standard is based on, because it isn't part of that district. Okay. Are there any, further discussion on any of these elements that we've discussed and the amended findings or recommended findings by the planner.
So this covers the fact that we are okay with going over 20% of the site?
Because of what Margaret was talking about.
The ordinance allows them to go up to 50% if they use lit and green infrastructure.
Is there, one of my questions, is there a certain amount they have to use in order to qualify for that? I mean, you have the lip spreader.
Level lip spreader.
Level lip spreader, thank you. So any LID qualifies for a larger number. I'm just trying to follow the ordinance.
I mean, I'm not going to tell you that. I'm going to tell you that we're using a level lip spreader, which is a recognized BMP from the DOT. I'm sorry, DEP. But I'm telling you, we're treating most of the parking with the 2 level lip spreaders.
Is that sufficient for you, Margaret?
I'm not an engineer, so.
Well, I'm not one either.
I mean, our options are to agree with his opinion, or we can have our town consulting engineer do a peer review.
Are you open to planting shrubs in some places rather than grass?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Are you asking for that to be added then?
Do I need to? I never know when to just
We can add them on the downgrading and around the building to treat, or to help with some of that treatment for the untreated areas, which is the new building addition.
No, it sounds good.
Okay, under findings of fact then, I move that the applicant meets the site plan review standards of section 15.1 through 15.22 as described in the planner's proposed findings of fact. Is there a second?
I'll second it. I asked so many questions, I feel
Yeah,
like
go
it would be
ahead.
second it.
You're just fading into the background today, Courtney.
I know.
All right, any further discussion? Okay. Let's go the other way.
Oh. Yes. Christine Donovan Hall. Approve.
Heather Allen, yes.
Debbie Forrester, yes.
Courtney Snelling's yes.
Dan Hobeck, yes. Passes 5-0. Conclusions of law. In light of these findings of fact, with consideration given to the supporting documentation in the record, I move that the planning board reaches the following conclusions. The planning board finds that the applicant, the Harpswell Heritage Land Trust, has met the standards of the Town of Harpswell Site Plan Review Ordinance. It approves the application and site plan for the expansion of the building, additional parking and access at 153 Harpswell Neck Road, map number 2, lot number 70-1, with the following standard conditions of approval. 1, the approval is not final until such time as final plans showing all conditions of approval and any waivers granted have been signed by the chair of the planning board. This approval is based on the approved plans and all submissions and information provided by the applicant at final approval, whether referenced in any findings or conditions of approval. 2, the approval is dependent upon and limited to the proposal and plans contained in the application and supporting documents submitted and affirmed to by the applicant. Any variation from the plans, proposals, and supporting documents except de minimis changes as determined by the town planner that do not affect approval standards is subject to the review and approval of the planning board prior to implementation. 3, the applicant shall obtain all necessary state and federal approvals before the applicant commences any land use activity pursuant to this site plan approval and shall comply with the requirements of those permits and approvals. 4, all work shall be completed in accordance with best management practices for soil erosion and sedimentation control. 5, one copy of the notice of decision must be recorded by the applicant in the Cumberland County Registry of Deeds within 45 days of approval, and the book and page number provided to the code enforcement officer. Failure of the applicant to record the notice of decision shall void the site plan approval. 6, the standard is,
What standard?
Is Matt?
I think that's it, isn't it?
Wait, I wasn't.
So
The
number
Okay,
number
six
you've got
Yeah.
some additional,
They need after the fact permit for the shed.
You're saying number 6 we don't need.
I think we need
There's
six.
something about MDOT.
Yeah, we
there.
don't,
Yeah,
we didn't do this one, because they're not expanding it, right?
No, they
No,
are.
they are
They
expanding it. They're
expanding
not
it. We
changing
are
the
doing
culvert.
that. They
Oh,
have,
the
they have
culvert.
preliminary.
They're
we are
still
doing
gonna
it.
get, they still have to get approval from MDOT to
Oh.
expand.
but
that.
that's state and federal approvals, permits, right?
Yeah.
As referenced above.
Yeah, that wouldn't be included.
So I can help you out a little bit. We will provide the preliminary MDOT approval, and it will be constructed as specified by the MDOT permit. So I think it's fine.
Okay.
So are you striking 6, Dan?
We're striking 6.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay,
I just like to be as specific as I can.
okay, yeah, 6 is covered
All
under,
right,
under 3.
cool.
7,
okay.
do we, oh, the 7, 6, the applicant will seek an after-the-fact permit for the shed from the code enforcement office. And 7, is there a permit fee here?
No, that was like, that was something I put in just as an in case. I've changed it. Here's 7. Flycatcher in conjunction with Trillium will delineate the boundary of the wetland fill to ensure no more than 4,300 square feet of wetland is filled.
Okay,
No consulting engineer.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, if that's the motion, can I have a second?
I second the motion.
Okay. Any discussion?
Christine Donovan?
Okay. Dan Hobeck, yes?
Courtney Snellings, yes.
Debbie Forrester, yes.
Heather Allen, yes.
Christine Donovan Hall, yes. Yay, we made it.
Thank you for your
We're
patience.
not, wait, I got one more thing. Are you going to amend that and bring us an amended one, or is everything consistent already?
No, we are going to amend it with the comments we talked about tonight.
Awesome, so we'll
Make-
need a copy of that and then we'll sign it.
Correct.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay. I want to thank you all for your patience. As I said before, this was a very complex thing, but,
We did it.
you know, one of our jobs is to make sure that complex things are taken care of in a way that benefits the town of Harpswell. So congratulations to you. We look forward to the changes here.
After 6 months, almost 6 months of starting, right? Hasn't it been
Yeah.
almost that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, I sure know how to clear a room.
Is there popcorn being served?
All right. Does anyone want to take a break, or should we crank through?
Let's not make these people wait.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think you wanted to take a break.
No,
Okay.
they don't want.
No.
All right, let's start to new business. Item 26-0601, Tom Reynolds, owner, Diane Plord, applicant, map 42, lot 36, 59 Dowdy Point Road. Consideration of an application for a new residential wharf in the Resource Protection District. Do we have the site visit? Nope.
Well, we all went to see it, Dowdy Point Road, that they want to install the dock with the ramp along Ewing's Narrow, and I'm not really sure what I should be recording at these site visits, but we all looked at it, we had questions, we talked about what it was going to look like, what was there now, where it was going to be placed.
One thing I would add, Dan, that I think was helpful at the site walk is that this structure on this lot is feet from the ocean, maybe 10 feet or something. It's very close. And it's totally cleared it's grass, I would say, between the house and the bank. And then there's a pretty steep bank and the bank is vegetated.
Yeah.
So there's not really, it's not like they are going to install a meandering path or have to clear anything to accomplish this project.
Right.
That's true.
The only thing I took away from there was 3 ticks.
Really?
Yeah.
Was what? What did you take away?
3 ticks.
Oh, no.
And one of them embedded in my belly. So, yeah.
Oh.
Great.
So it was pretty like, oh, no. But yeah, we all went, Tim,
Yeah, I
Clark,
wasn't there.
Tony, Danny, Debbie, Margaret, Amanda? Is it Amanda who went? Was it-
Miriam.
Miriam, and Norman and I all went on last Tuesday to the site. Norman is much more verbally adequate than I am to discuss how he's building these, because he is the builder, Norman with Redfish Associates. And like Margaret said, there is nothing on the ground from the back of the house to the land.
All
It's
right,
all
just-
grass.
Just as a bit of background, I'll get back to you in a moment, but I think to get this on the record here a minute. As background, Tom Reynolds owns a lot on Doughty Point Road. He's proposing to install a dock consisting of a pier with a seasonal ramp and float to provide access to the water. The proposed dock consists of a set of 4-foot by 10-foot access stairs, a 6-foot by 115-foot fixed pier, a 3-foot by 40-foot seasonal ramp, and a 12-foot by 20-foot seasonal float. A 4-foot by 14-foot set of stairs will be used to access the intertidal zone from the fixed pier. The ramp and float will be stored off-site in an upland location during an off-season. In addition to other approvals, the proposed dock requires review and approval by the planning board under the shoreline zoning
Correct.
ordinance.
All of
Okay.
that is the same. It's not going to change. Everything is identical to what you said. It is, most of it is seasonal, because that Ewing's does freeze up, and everything is being removed, whatever he can. So, he has plenty of area that he can locate the seasonal ramp and float. There will be no damage to the upland with the storage. So I think this is, I think the planning board that went was, saw that it was not going to inhibit the flow of the water, the boats, or anything on land, or any marine any marine bios in the water. So it is a relatively easy type of structure to build. So, and Redfish is one of the top builders, so.
Yeah, and there was no indication of any eelgrass or anything of that nature there?
No, nothing, and it's all clear. We saw a little bit of seaweed, that was it.
Okay.
And that was way out there, so, no, there was no sea, and like Margaret said, the shoreland dropped, so the stairs from the pier to the water will be removed, so there won't be anything on the water for too long.
Okay, thank you. Margaret, do you have any further comments on it?
My only comment that I put in my memo was about the stairs, but we can probably get to that.
What stairs? Which ones?
Well,
There's one
that-
down and one too.
That you guys have an existing set of stairs and you're adding a second set of stairs?
Those are being destroyed. No, those are not being,
Okay.
I don't think those are being used.
Okay, so they'll be, I didn't quite look at the.
Those
that part.
are old.
Okay,
The ones that you saw are old.
okay.
Yeah.
It
No,
just
they're
seems
in
like,
Picture,
oh yeah, they're in the picture.
yeah.
Yeah, but that's my pictures. I snap everything.
Yeah.
But not everybody was there, so they can see what we're talking about.
Yeah, but no, they're not. If I know builders, they're gonna build all new ones.
Yeah, I mean, we could just make that a condition. I just think that having two sets of access stairs to the waters.
Well, remember, one's going from the upland down, and one is on the pier down to the water, so that, the kids can go into walk on the rocks and pick
Yeah.
up shells.
Right.
It's not, because otherwise you can't. You can't get down unless you jump.
Right.
So that's why they have a set of stairs from the pier down to the water. But the set of stairs from the upland, is gonna be set for the stairs to the pier.
Yeah.
So,
So I have a question. This letter from Norman, he talks about stairs for the use of a right-of-way for the neighboring properties. What is that referring to? It's dated October 26, 2025. I'm not sure.
Where is that?
It was in our stuff.
Wasn't in all of
was it an email, you mean?
No, it's a document with that date. It doesn't say whose it's
October
addressed.
I don't
No,
think
it's
that's,
part of the NERPA application.
It's the first, October 26th, you said?
Oh, I see it.
Yeah,
Was-
and it says use of the right-of-way for the neighboring properties. So that's what I'm trying to understand. Do you want me to show it to you? Do you have it?
I have the original
Yeah.
contract. This October 26th, 2025.
It's
Where-
signed by Norman Wallace.
Uh-huh.
redfish.
No, that's not it. October 2020.
Maybe part of that.
Where is it on this page?
Well, no, I'm on the.
Red.
Well, no, it's
Yeah.
Norman wrote it.
Yeah, but
Oh, I see.
he gives it to me.
Oh,
Yeah.
No, sorry, I do not have that. I have what's up? No, I don't have that.
It's in the application you gave us.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking at the original, sorry. Let me look to see what I gave.
Thank you, I found that too. Just found
I
it.
just, it's, I
Right
was
there.
Yeah.
just curious. We didn't,
Oh, it's on
neighboring
this page.
properties
Yeah.
and.
Right here.
What was your question? Okay, I have it.
So it says stairs for the use of a right-of-way for the neighboring properties.
Oh, other than,
Maybe they're planning to share their dock.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean.
There is nobody down there.
on.
There's nobody down there.
Water,
No, but my point is,
other than by stairs.
there's a line that says contains a residence with a detached garage and access,
He's the homeowner.
it looks like there's a word missing, but access to the waterfront
He's right
other
here.
than stairs for the use of the right-of-way for the neighboring properties.
Oh, he's raised his hand.
Yeah.
I see it, yeah.
I'm just
All right.
curious.
I see somebody on Zoom. Do you have a comment on this?
You have to unmute him.
Yes, good evening. I'm Peter Myers. I'm 58 Narrows Lane, right next to the property. I believe that would apply to neighbors to the south side. We're on the north side, and we're already part of another dock association. So that must apply to south side properties. But I do have a question for later on.
Since we've got you, just go ahead. We'll take you out of order.
Thank you very much. And I apologize because I frankly should have run back to town hall as I forgot what I saw when I looked at the plans this winter. Could I just confirm that our property line is about 30 feet to the north of I think the site where the dock leaves the land? Tom's been a fantastic neighbor over the 7 years that we've owned here. So I really just wanted to confirm one thing. Is the design of the dock such that it goes directly perpendicular out into the Narrows? Or does it in any way angle? And I obviously would be interested if it angled to the north. And the reason it is a fairly lengthy dock, which means that if it angled out to the north, it would go further into our sight line. And I'm not sure. That may not be controllable by this board. That may be marine law and not zoning law, but I did want to just ask the question about how does it leave the land?
It does not go, it goes straight out. It does not go north or south. It literally
Perfect.
goes straight out into the water. And he brought it that length to go beyond the mean low water. But it does not go
Correct.
north or
Yep.
south. It literally goes straight out from the position off the land.
Perfect. And thank you very much for answering that question.
You're welcome.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining us. We're glad we could have your question answered.
Yeah.
Okay, questions from the board. Courtney?
Yes, I do. I was not able, I was in Alaska, so I
Oh,
have an
darn.
excuse, but I couldn't. I hate to miss the sidewalks, I really do.
I would hate to miss Alaska. Sorry.
I had some concerns about the fact that this is coastal, it's an RP district, and I was reading the letter from the DEP, and perhaps you sort of mentioned this, maybe you confirm it, but I still have some other concerns. It said that there are currently no mapped eelgrass beds, although there were large beds previously mapped here. Does that mean they're not mapped because there aren't any, or no one has come to map them?
I don't know. You can go on, I don't know, what's the name of it?
I tried to find somebody to contact, but it was almost impossible.
Yeah, you can go online and see, and I did do that, to see where eelgrass is located in anywhere. And apparently DEP says that there are not any, there's no eelgrass there.
Yeah, they said there wasn't any that was mapped, but then that kind of begged the question, did it mean they had mapped it? Or they could say there wasn't any? And I was curious about that. But otherwise, sort of in the same concern was that enough of the water was being shaded so that the applicant actually has to pay an in lieu fee, which to me shows that it was of a serious nature.
It is because of, I believe because of the length of the structure itself. And a lot of DEP is going after the shade, I'm sorry. I thought I turned it off. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It happens to the best of us.
Sorry.
No,
My
no.
brother, God love him. The DEP is going after a lot of the shading part, because there's a lot of marshland, salt marsh out there,
Yep.
not here. But that's standard for their concern. For the length of the pier into the water is
Right.
what their concern is with. But since there's no eelgrass, that's why they sent the approval, because they don't find there's a real issue with that.
I mean, it sounded like a reluctant approval,
No.
frankly. Well, then why charge you?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the truth, I've done a lot, and I know Flycatcher has done a lot, Waterman has done a lot, and this is my very, very first one
Sorry.
that I have ever had that fee. Very, very first one. So I hate to say this, but I haven't been subjected to that yet, until this one. So, and, it's funny because they did not contact me with this. They sent it right to him. And I all of a sudden, I found it, and I was like, what happened? I've never seen that. So I'm not really sure why they did that.
Because there is on page 4, coastal wetlands are wetlands of special significance. So that,
Oh,
That-
they do, yeah,
that concerned me because,
Well, that's typical of all protection rules. That's typical of all wharfs and floats and especially Harpswell. But what was the significant, what was the,
that was
the whole thing?
his statement under wetlands and water bodies protection rules. The applicant proposes to directly alter 11.1 square feet and indirectly impact 1,106 square feet of coastal wetland to construct the proposed recreational pier. And then he goes on to say, will result in 4.4 square feet of direct impacts and 270 square feet of indirect impacts to salt marsh vegetation.
When we do the applications, we have to get the dimensions of everything, calculate what the indirect and direct impacts will be. We input that into the system, however they want us to. And we can do square foot, linear foot, all that. And it calculates itself. And truthfully, they have never come back and said, that's not good. Or they have never said, that's too much. Or that's not, they never said, that's enough, not enough. But they've never come back and said, you have to change this. I input what I am given from the builder for the sizes, and the way they have it set up in Mel's is you put that information in, and it does all the calculations for you.
I think there was a suggestion to do something different with the pier, but the response was it would not be stable enough. I believe it was like, there was some sort of a,
To make it higher.
yes, what was
Make
it,
it,
1 to 5 to 1 or something like that? some
Yeah, that's
number.
almost impossible to do that. That's almost impossible to do that, and it won't be stable, what they wanted. So they understood that. The contract, Redfish, Norman, sent his reply to them and saying that's almost impossible for what you want. And he has never encountered that type of request for sizes and length and whatnot. And they did not question his reply. Did not question it. So they understood what he was saying. Yeah, sometimes sometimes the contractor, I will get the question back, the response, the request to do something, get some more information. I will contact the builder, because I'm not the builder, I'm not the engineer. I want them to answer those questions for me. I fill out the paperwork. And once they get that information, sometimes the builder will literally get the email and send it back to them and CC me. I don't have anything to do with it, and that's what Norman did about that build. So, and they never replied back saying, well, let's argue this point. They never did that. Sorry.
Well, thank you for your answer.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
That answer your, as best it can?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, comments from the board? If not, section 15.3 of the shoreline zoning ordinance sets out specific standards for piers, docks, wharfs, and similar structures. The applicant has addressed the conformance of the proposal with these standards in the application. I move that the planning board find that the application of Tom Reynolds meets the standards of 15.3 of the shoreline zoning ordinance based on the findings of fact incorporated by reference as proposed by the town planner in a memo dated June 10, 2026. Is there support? Second? Okay, there's a second. Any further discussion?
She did, second. I did think, yep.
Any further discussion? All right, I'm ready to put it to a vote. Dan Hoback, aye.
Courtney Snelling's nay.
Debbie Forrester, aye.
Heather Allen, aye.
Christine Donovan Hall, aye.
Motion passes 4-1. Conclusions of law, I move that the planning board find that in light of these findings of fact, consideration given to the supporting documentation in the record, that the planning board reaches the following conclusions. Planning board finds that applicant Tom Reynolds has met the standards of the town of Harpswell shoreline zoning ordinance. The planning board approves the application and site plan for the wharf in the Resource Protection District at 59 Dowdy Point Road, map number 42, lot number 36, with the following standard conditions of approval. One, this approval is not final until such time as the notice of decision has been signed by the chair of the planning board. Two, this approval is based on the application, including the drawings of the proposed dock prepared by Diane Plord and Redfish and Associates, Inc., and on all submissions and information provided by the applicant at final approval, whether referenced in any findings or conditions of approval. Three, the approval is dependent upon and limited to the proposal and plans contained in the application and supporting documents submitted and affirmed to by the applicant. Any variation from the plan, proposals, and supporting documents, except de minimis changes as determined by the town planner that do not affect approval standards, is subject to the review and approval of the planning board prior to implementation. Four, the applicant shall comply with all state and federal rules and regulations that apply to the application. Is there a second?
Can I add one?
Sure.
Can I add one, that the second set of that the existing access stairs are removed?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Cool, thank you.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Christine?
No, no discussion.
No, I just wanted,
She won.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. You're trying
Yes,
again.
Christine Donovan Hall, I'm sorry.
Heather Allen, yes.
Debbie Forrester, yes.
Of course, I need clarification. I said nay before, so what position does that put me in for the conclusions of law?
if you find that you could not support the findings of fact, you should also not support the conclusions
I was
of
just
law.
checking.
Yeah.
Nay. Thank you.
Dan Hoback, aye. Motion passes 4-1. The application is approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank
You're
you,
very
Diane.
Thank you all for visiting the site, and I hope you all did not bring any ticks home.
Well, I did too.
I-
One just crawled right up my leg.
Yeah,
so.
right, right.
There are no ticks in Alaska.
Oh, wonderful. They're notorious over there, my lord. Thank you very
Because all the bugs eat them, because there's too many bugs in Alaska. They gotta eat something, right? They're eating all the ticks.
All righty. Item 26-6-02, Woodland Property, Woodward Point Properties, Joanne Noren, applicant, map 28, lot 90, 1747 Harpswell Islands Road. Consideration of the board's exercising jurisdiction for the review of an application to reconstruct a non-conforming structure. All right, Debbie, do you want to make a comment or two while I'm pulling this up?
We went to visit the site. The code folks were with us, and Miriam, neighbors from across the street came over, and we looked at where it was, the location, where it was going to be. We talked about the fire hazard next door. Yeah, that was about it.
All right, thank you. For background, the owner, Woodward Point Properties, owns a lot on Harpswell Islands Road, shown as Lot 90 on tax map 28. Property was previously developed with two principal dwellings and a shed. In October of 2024, a permit was approved to demolish one of the dwellings and the shed. This was necessary to access the rear east of the lot in order to replace the septic system. The replacement septic system project was completed in 2024. The applicant is seeking permission to rebuild the non-conforming dwelling unit that was removed. The lot located at 1749 Harpswell Neck Road is approximately 75 feet wide. It is 163 feet wide at the southern boundary and 128 at the northern boundary. The western boundary of the lot has approximately 72 feet of frontage on Harpswell Island Road. The owner proposes to rebuild the structure in generally the same location, only move 9 feet away from the western property boundary for a small decrease of the nonconformity of the structure. The replacement structure will continue to be nonconforming in regards to the westerly and northerly property boundaries. The lot is located in the interior zoning district with the rear east of the lot in the commercial fishing 2 zone. Okay, so this is in front of us to determine whether or not we wish to exercise jurisdiction. I just bumped into your opening statement, didn't I?
No, I'm good. No, go for it.
No, that was it.
Oh. I would say that in that opening statement, I had a hard time telling what was the boundary on the survey, so that was my best guess, but there was like 2 lines and I couldn't tell which was the boundary, so if I got any of that incorrect, feel free to let me know. I can fix it. You know, because there was like a boundary line, and then a few feet in there was another line. So
Right.
I couldn't. Yeah. Anyways.
All right, would you like to describe the project to us?
Yeah, sure. I bought the house in '24.
Oh, we need your name.
Oh, Johan Noren. I'm one of the owners of Woodward Point Properties.
All right.
Purchased the property, renovated it, and the septic system was not useful anymore, so we had to remove the ADU and the shed to put in the new septic system, just to get the machinery down in there. And then when we were doing it, Margaret told us that we were able to rebuild at some point, so we designed and put in a septic system to handle both houses. And then, as we were designing it all, I decided to go a little bit smaller to fit the lot a little better, and I was just asking if I could push it a little bit, 9 feet in, just to get it off the road. So that's basically it.
All right.
And I took one section of the building away because it bumped out too close to the other house and it looked odd to me, so that's why I made it smaller.
All right, so this is an accessory dwelling unit,
Yes.
correct? All right. Margaret, do you want to comment on this at all? Because this is up for our determining whether we should take jurisdiction or just remand it to codes.
I'm really happy it's a project, jurisdictional review that's not in the shoreline zone for one time.
Yeah.
Nothing, we don't have to battle about vegetation removal for once. I think this one's pretty cut and dry, straightforward. What I think is interesting about the site is it's a little deceiving where the property line is, because where you park, where we all parked at the site walk, is I don't think a lot of that is on the property. So that's all, but they're gonna make it more conforming and there's nothing else to do. The one thing I would say is that the ordinance puts a limitation on replacement of non-conforming structures. So I would just say, if we're not gonna take jurisdiction of it, which I don't think is necessary that we do it, that the code office just make sure that they review that time limitation and make sure the permit is in accordance with it. No?
And I just have a question. Do you remember what the size of the original house, because I've lived here for 25 years, and I remember those 2 houses.
I'm gonna guess it was closer than 900 square foot.
Okay, it was small, I was just wondering. So
Yep.
you're proposing, what, 800?
700.
700, okay. All right, thank you.
Just
wondering.
Christine, since you are as close as anybody, do you have any other comments or questions?
No, they talked about Redmond's Hall, about the, that's a fire hazard next door.
we tried to buy that, and they're not.
Well, they're not gonna do it. Oh, we know, we've all tried to buy
Okay.
it. He has,
I just want it gone.
No, I don't have
The
anything,
raccoons
really.
refuse to sell.
I don't, no, I think it's, being smaller is better. And the parking, is it right beside, the south side of the present building? So to the south?
I was gonna pull it in by the tree. There's a big maple tree, and just
Okay,
pull it in so it's not like that on the road anymore, because I
Okay.
don't care for that.
okay, all right, that's all.
Okay.
Is it possible for me to ask
Yeah,
a question?
Well,
yeah, go
certainly,
right
would
ahead,
you-
Tara.
To go identify yourself.
Microwave, I said, instead of microphone.
Hi, my name is Bart Beatty. I live at 8 and 12 Bills Lane, so we're just to the east of this property. And the question that I had looking at the application is, it looks like the septic system was built for a 3-bedroom. So the house that's on the lot is a 3-bedroom, and they're adding an ADU that says it's a 1 to 2 bedroom. So I would imagine, I had sent you an email about this, didn't hear back from you, but, I would imagine that you've checked all this out. Oh, that's cool. That you've checked it all out, and it's good, but, and maybe it's a codes issue if you guys don't take it up, but that's just the one clarifying thing that I guess I'd be interested to know about.
That's an excellent question, and it is something that when codes reviews, we'll make sure that the septic is sufficient for it.
What, I guess I don't understand what exactly your question is about the septic, because we could probably answer it right
The
now.
septic is it big enough?
Oh, okay.
Because it's designed, it says, the original septic design's for a 3-bedroom. It states 3-bedroom on it. The house is a 3-bedroom that's currently on the lot. The ADU is stated it would be a 1 to 2 bedroom ADU. So that's 4 to 5 bedrooms on a 3-bedroom system. I ask because my system is directly down from that steep slope to it. And I really don't want to take the overflow from his system into my system, if it's not big enough.
So his septic is 450 gallons per day.
Yep.
270, I think, is a 3-bedroom system. So that would be 450 minus 270. So that gives him 180, which is the minimum size for a standalone structure. Regardless of it's a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom, it's
Right.
always going to be 180. So I
Gotcha.
think that it matches what he's proposing.
Right on.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Excellent. What's the pleasure of the board? Remand? Okay.
I think it is.
Wants to,
We have to vote on that.
who wants
don't
to, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, who wants to make a motion? I'm tired of it.
we? You're the best motion maker.
I move that
Margaret did give.
I move that item 26-0602, the application of Woodward Point Properties, map 28, lot 90, 1747 Harpswell Island Road, be remanded to codes, and that the planning board decline to take jurisdiction.
And I'll second that.
No, thank you. Any discussion? Christine?
Yes, Christine Donovan Hall.
Yes, Heather Allen.
Debbie Forrester, yes.
Courtney Snelling's yes.
Dan Hobeck, yes. The motion passes. It's remanded to codes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, we are down to our last item of business.
Bart.
Item 26-6-03, Angela Bear, owner, Peter Spencer, Waterman Marine Corp. applicant, map 5, lot 59, 42 Hildreth Road, consideration of an application for a new residential wharf in the Resource Protection District.
Oh, here we go
And I told you we'd be a little after 8 o'clock, didn't I?
again. Resource protection.
Okay. Debbie, you want to say a couple of words?
So, actually, codes wasn't with us at this one. It was just the planning board and this gentleman who joined us, and we looked at the backyard. We saw the slope that it had to go down. We didn't know exactly where the dock was going to be put in and where the stairs were going to be put in. And we just talked about the site.
But it's an extremely steep slope.
It is a very steep slope. That will be one of my questions moving forward.
All right, well, let me just put in the background here.
Okay.
Angela Bear and Douglas Beers own a lot on Hildreth Road in Harpswell. They're proposing to install a dock consisting of a pier with a seasonal ramp and float to provide access to the water. The proposed dock consists of a set of 4-foot by 4-foot access stairs to a 4-foot by 8-foot landing and an additional set of 4-foot by 15-foot stairs to a 5-foot by 90-foot fixed pier, a 3-foot pier by 32-foot seasonal ramp, and a 10-foot by 20-foot seasonal float. The float will be stored off-site in an upland location in the off-season. In addition to other approvals, the proposed dock requires review and approval by the planning board under the shoreline zoning ordinance. And incidentally, for those of you who weren't there, this proposed dock is directly across the water from the other one that we just approved.
Yeah.
So if they made them both longer, we could have just one big.
We could play
How
badminton,
much-
volleyball.
Becomes a bridge.
How much distance will be between the ends of the docks? I wasn't on the sidewalk, as
Yeah.
we know, but I am curious about that.
It's,
No,
Plenty.
plenty.
Okay, just saying. All right,
yeah, this is,
that's all I need to know.
this is just north, this is north of the bridge on Mountain Road. So you have a pretty good idea that that's very wide,
Okay.
all right? All right, Margaret, do you have anything to say before we ask the applicant to describe it? All right.
So, Mr. Chairman, the only thing there are two things that came up during
Name?
our site, Peter Spencer, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
So we have two things that arose during the site walk. One was the business of what we're going to do about vegetation removal, or how much would we take out when we put the stairs in. And the answer to that question was only what we need to do. The stairs are 4 feet wide, so we'd probably have an 8-foot sort of path going down. If necessary, if there's bare earth around, we would remediate those areas with native plantings like Rosa virginiana or sweet fern. And the other question that was raised by the planner was the existence of a 4x8 landing between the two staircases. And that had been approved by the DP. So let me say it's an issue with some people at the Department of Environmental Protection. And the complaint that they have mostly is that area, that landing might be used as an observation deck. Well, we've never, ever seen that. This is, from our perspective, this is a safety issue. And the staircases are designed, the first one is 12 feet, and the second one is 15, I believe. But if somebody takes a tumble down the stairs, they're going to stop after 15 or 20 feet of tumbling, and they might hurt themselves, but they probably won't be seriously injured. On the other hand, if there's no landing and you go down 27 stairs, which is 14 or 15 feet, you're going to have a big problem. So we've dealt with this for many years. We've done hundreds of these staircases like this. On one case, what we agreed to do was to make the staircase 4x6 instead of 4x8. But the suggestion that somebody's going to have a sun chair on there and sit in the middle of all the foliage on the side of the hill with no sun is, it's not a reasonable expectation.
Okay.
Those are the only items I remember from the sidewalk.
Yeah, and to speak about the 4x8 landing, I don't think it's approvable under shoreline zoning. I haven't had a chance to follow up with Jeff Kalinich, but Chapter 1000 limits the width of access stairs to 4 feet. So I don't, and our ordinance is a little bit different than Chapter 1000. It's kind of annoyingly different, but Chapter 1000 doesn't allow you to have a staircase wider than 4 feet. We've never, this is why I kind of raised a red flag for me, like, we've never approved, I don't know if you guys are paying attention, but we've never approved a staircase to the shore wider than 4 feet, never a landing wider than 4 feet. It doesn't happen. I think if it was allowable under shoreline zoning, everybody would be doing it, and they don't. I just haven't had the chance to get Jeff Kalinich's take on this, but I can tell you what Chapter 1000 said, and it says the width has to be 4 feet. So that was kind of my hang-up with it.
Okay.
The stair width is fine, you're saying?
The landing makes it,
Wider than 4 feet.
yeah.
No, it's not wider than 4 feet. The stairs are 4 feet.
Right,
Right.
Right, but it's length, it's 4x8.
Right.
right, it's wider than 4 feet.
No, we're talking, that's the landing is
Yeah.
8 feet, so you go
I mean,
down to the
technically-
landing.
Technically,
turn
they're
the-
two sets of stairs, two different sets of stairs. So I mean, I get the
That's
argument.
not one set of stairs. You think that's 2 sets of stairs?
Yeah, one of them's separated.
Yeah.
By the landing?
By
Yeah,
the
by the landing.
Yeah,
To keep people from tumbling 40 feet down.
right.
I would make the argument that if they weren't shifting, the second after the landing going down, if they were in the same
Okay.
spot, if there was a landing and then there was no shift
Okay.
between the two sets, I would, yeah. But
This is what Chapter 1000 said. Stairways or similar structures may be allowed with a permit from the code enforcement officer to provide shoreline access in areas of steep slopes or unstable soils, provided that the structure is, not stairs, structure is limited to a maximum of 4 feet in width, that the structure doesn't extend below or over normal high water line of a water body or upland edge of a wetland, and that applicant demonstrates no reasonable alternative access exists on the property.
Okay.
And so that's why, I just feel like if it
The
was.
structure wraps
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
that.
it
It's
does.
just, when I was thinking it was a staircase, the width of the staircase, we had to judge it as two separate staircases. If it's
Yeah.
structure,
Well,
That's
that
a really
changes
interesting
things.
argument, and I'm hearing what you say, that you do it to all of them and you get pushback in all the communities. I don't know that this design is approvable through us in.
Do we need to
Well,
look for it? And-
you have to look at the common sense considerations. For children and elderly people, this is an issue.
Yeah.
And we've had people tumble down a flight of stairs and, had a broken arm or a contusion, but that's been the worst thing that's ever happened. But, the elevations are fairly steep, and it's a large safety item in our agenda, trying to make things so people are going to be happy for some years with their system.
I see why you're doing it, but frankly, it just seems really dangerous to me, regardless of the landing. If it were my house, I would not put a pier out, because somebody's going to fall.
Well, that's.
I'm the logical person.
Everybody's got a choice.
Yep.
okay, let me look at it this way, because we go down 4 feet and we hit a landing and we turn
14
left.
feet.
Hmm?
Was 14? Oh,
No, 4 feet wide. We're going
right.
14 feet wide and we hit here.
Yeah.
We turn left and it's 4 feet wide. And we turn right and go down again and it's 4 feet wide, correct?
Yeah, I
Still
think it's
8 feet wide on the landing.
I just think as a matter of principle, I would feel more confident if we got some approval from the shoreline zoning coordinator saying that, yes, this is consistent. And I'm not saying that it's not approvable, but I would rather be totally sure than to approve this and open a floodgate of everybody making the same design.
And it would also give us something for future petitioners too, correct?
Yeah, and, yeah, I guess you guys could handle it two ways. You could approve it contingent upon, I feel bad he was waited all night and,
Yeah.
but, I mean, we could go through the rest of it. But I don't think that was my only question.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we
Okay.
could go through the rest of it, or whatever,
Sure.
whatever you want, Chair.
Because I think, if we go through the rest of it and it's acceptable, we can make the approval contingent.
Okay.
All right? All right. We have Margaret's recommendation. She finds that it meets all of the standards of 15.3, with the exception of that one, if I saw that correctly, which was 15.3.5.3, which is,
No, I had a question on a bunch of them.
okay, well, let's go.
Questions too.
Yeah. I can't find mine now.
I'm,
You want one, Chris, Courtney?
No, I have it. I
Okay.
just have to.
okay, we have 15.3.2, access from the shore shall be developed on soils appropriate for such use and constructed as to control erosion.
Yeah, so there's no erosion control plan included in this document. And erosion's going to be an issue building it, and also once the structure's in place, because you're putting it into this really steep slope. So I think that needs to be acknowledged and addressed, because I see erosion as a potentially significant problem there, and it's because of the steepness of the slope, it could have consequences that expand beyond the 8 feet you're talking about you would need to clear to put the
Can
stairs in.
I comment on that?
Excuse me?
Can I comment on that? So this is a steep slope, but if you build it properly using 6x6 timbers as your support timbers in the ground, and you dig the site for that space only, and you insert the pile in the hole with about a 5-inch layer of gravel on the bottom, and then you backfill it and compress it, and if you necessary, place plants around it. We've not had a problem with
But
that.
how are you gonna dig the hole?
With a man-powered shovel.
Is this
And-
dirt or ledge? I was not able to.
No,
to
the
come.
side of the hill is a mixture of, mixed fines and some, lots of mud and, it's not difficult to dig. It's just, the physical part of it is hard, but digging it is not difficult.
Okay, so it is dirt. It's mostly dirt. It's not
Yes.
like a ledge, like a bluff.
No.
But it's,
Ledge.
at this point, it's relatively vegetated.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Densely
live there, so,
vegetated.
yeah.
But I think if you have spent any time at the Hildreth Road landing, I grew up calling it the gravel pit, and you go, so this house is 2 houses south of the gravel pit. That house next to the gravel pit landing has this very steep, very eroded, kind of raw bluff. And that's kind of what I was thinking of when I made this finding, that it's worth maybe going to see. I mean, you can see it from the town property, but it's very steep and it's very eroded there. And so you wonder if that bluff is right next to it looking like that, what impact would this development have on this soil? My only, yeah.
And it's not addressed, there's no erosion control plan for
Well,
place
we
that's
also
steep.
do erosion control remediation. It's another part of our business, so we're familiar with all the issues with what you're talking about.
Okay, but I think what's being raised is that there is nothing in your proposal that shows what that erosion control and remediation would look like.
That's quite simple to, that's not a big deal for us.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
that may not be a big deal, but it's
Well, no,
something that we.
we can provide you with a, you know, sketch of what it would look like, for example. That would probably do the trick. You know, it's not rocket science, it's difficult, but yeah, it can be done.
It would be rock science.
But, you know, but having that plan in front of us would enable us to satisfy the requirements here. Because right now, you know, we can't make a finding based on an allegation that it's not rocket science.
Right.
See
No,
what
no,
I'm
I understand
saying?
that, and
Yeah.
I'm not trying to minimize this.
No, and I'm not trying to be.
If I had known we needed that, I could have done, I could have brought that, or could have given Margaret a copy of that.
Okay. Do you have other, is that something that you're looking for?
Oh,
Debbie?
yeah,
Yeah.
I would definitely, I mean,
Okay.
it is a significantly steep slope. You couldn't even show us where it was going to go. You said, oh, somewhere in here probably. You didn't remember. So, I mean, I would like to see that. It also looks like there's another set of stairs at the bottom going off the pier,
Yeah, those are
but it's
stairs
not
to the
mentioned
beach.
anywhere. I don't know, maybe that's not what it is, but in the plan, there's,
They're certainly in the drawings.
and I don't recall that being mentioned in the text. Maybe I missed it.
In my text?
Yeah, I mean, the
Oh,
stairs here?
Yeah. And I didn't put it in here.
Yeah, I
Okay,
mean,
I can add it.
maybe I missed it.
No, I doubt it. Probably didn't add it. Okay.
So anyway, that's another something I noticed.
Okay.
What does that go down to?
The beach.
The gravel pit.
That's the, oh, okay.
All right. So that would be something we would certainly need in order to satisfy that section. 15.3.2, access from the shore shall be developed on soils appropriate for such use and constructed so as to control erosion. So we would need that. Now we're on to 15.3.3. Location shall not interfere with existing developed or natural beach areas.
So I reached out to Jeff Kalinich for guidance on this one. These are all so vague and kind of undefined, like this, you know, the idea of appropriate soils, you know, what are appropriate soils? What is an existing and or natural beach? And I put his quote in my memo, wherever that is, I don't have it in front of me. To me, it's about as beachy as Harpswell gets. It's kind of a really nice hard-packed space. But if people don't use it as a beach, I don't think it qualifies as one. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes. But what you said here was the standard is not met based on the finding that the adjacent area is heavily used by commercial fishermen.
Yeah.
What is,
Well, because this gravel
They
pit
were
landing,
apparently
they drive down the landing, it's a hard-packed beach, kind of like Garrison Cove.
Okay.
So they're able to drive down, primarily, I think, shellfish harvesters. You drive down right onto the beach and you can launch your boat there. And sometimes they leave their boat parked on the beach during the tide and then come and pick up their truck and trailer at the end of the tide. I don't know how far over their use extends of that space. I don't know if they're legally allowed to use the space in front of this property, but I know that that area is really, really heavily used by, you know, I mean, my sister used to launch her boat there, but I think a lot of
people launch boats there.
yeah, a lot of harvesters use it.
So you would not be able to launch a boat, or it would just be?
You would. I just didn't know. I don't know. Without input from the fisheries committee, I feel like usually the wharves aren't in a place where there's a lot of commercial fishing, but this is not that case.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really sure.
Okay,
I feel like we need a lot more information.
Yeah, the harbor master and everybody.
okay, well
Usually
then,
the harbor master does weigh in before,
Yeah.
she does, the harbor master, the procedure is usually the harbor
This is
master
what
brings
she's
the
talking about.
application to the Harbor and Waterfront Committee, and they review it and advise. And also to the Shellfish Committee, the Marine Resource Committee.
Yeah.
And maybe we want to wait, just given the location. I don't think Marine Resources, we should wait, because I don't think they're going to meet again until September.
But the
Yeah.
harbor master is part of that.
Yeah.
He's on that too. She.
She.
Yeah, she's on that now. What's to be he?
okay, well, this becomes now the third question about the application. One is the landing, the second is the erosion, and the third is its effect on fisheries. I would hate to go through and get through the first couple of them and get an approval, and then have the harbor master later come on and say that that doesn't work.
Yeah. I'm not sure that it would or not. I wasn't totally confident in my answer.
Okay, if we were to hold off acting on this tonight to get that information that you were talking about the landing, would that also give enough time to get input from the harbor master?
Yes.
Okay, so we could resolve those two questions, and we could also get the erosion and sedimentation
Yeah.
issue taken care of, correct?
Yeah.
Okay,
Harbor master land.
all right.
And
Are there any other things? I want to make sure that when we come back, that we don't have any other,
Everything's addressed, that needs to be addressed.
yeah, exactly.
The stairs that I brought up are not in the construction plan.
The ones on that drawing, correct?
Yeah, the ones on the drawing. One's down to the beach.
In the written construction plan?
Yeah, it's not. The landing, the staircase, the midpoint landing, the pier, the ramp and the float.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's not complete.
Can you add to the construction plan, can you add the stairs to the beach?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, are there any other questions? I'm sorry, I haven't been looking at you at all tonight.
You're fine.
Okay. Are there any other things that we need to have addressed so that we can act on this at the next meeting?
Personally, I think it would be helpful if we visited the site but looked up instead of looking down.
Oh, okay.
I think that would give us a good perspective on how the site. slope.
Go at low tide.
Okay.
So you're proposing a second site walk, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And we
think,
could park at the landing and just walk over on the beach.
okay. All right. I think you see where we're going right now. We have three things that we need to consider, one of which is that landing, the second which is your sedimentation and remediation thing, and the third issue is making sure that if we were to approve this, that the harbor master wouldn't come through and say that there's an issue with fishing. Okay? As much as I'd like to take care of it tonight, there's just, when we have that many issues, I just want to make sure that when we do this, come back again, that we're able to take care of it all at once.
So what is the time frame for getting back on the agenda?
1 month. So the application deadline is technically next week. I'll ensure with the harbor master that she can get us material for the next meeting, and I'll confirm with you that will be on for July 15.
Okay.
The one other thing I would note that I think I noticed is that this dock is probably double in length than as the other docks on this side of the Narrows. The other docks south of the gravel pit, all the float rests on the intertidal. So this is going to have pretty significant consequences, sticking out.
Navigation.
Yeah. I mean, maybe not navigation, but maybe navigation.
But that's something that the harbor master will
Yeah.
weigh in on,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Why is it so much longer?
So that they can have an all-tide float, I would assume.
Yeah, because it's very,
Do the other people have all-tide floats?
No.
Then why do we have to say yes to this one having an all-tide float?
Because we don't have any standards either way. So if they want to build a really long pier and it meets all of our standards and it meets DEP standards and it meets Army Corps standards, then they can have it.
all right. Any other issues? Otherwise, I'm going to move that we continue this application until our July 15th meeting. That's my motion. Is there support?
Second.
Support it. Well, let
Oh.
someone else do it.
Sorry. I jumped. I second that motion.
Okay.
I've said enough tonight.
Christine?
Yes, Christine Donovan Hall.
Heather Allen, yes.
Debbie Forrester, yes.
Courtney Snelling's yes.
Dan Hobeck, yes. Okay, so we'll take care of the stuff on our end and be in contact with you. You know, if you don't hear anything within the next couple of weeks, feel free to contact Margaret, and she'll give you a status report on where we are. And then we'll finish her off next
And
time.
Thank
We
you.
need from him
Hmm?
erosion.
Yeah, we'll do, yeah, your erosion
Description
plan,
of the
that's your
stairs.
job. Okay,
Stairs, yep.
I can do that.
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Heather, keeping.
sorry you had such a late night.
I didn't, I feel like we talked about so much, I wasn't sure.
Okay, we have, under other business, consideration of the February 18, 2026 minutes.
Courtney had a question about them.
I did. What was it? Really?
It was about the discussion. I don't know if anybody else read them.
I haven't had a chance to read them.
Yeah.
Should we just defer that until
Sure.
next time?
I'm trying to, I remember
Yeah.
having
It's all right.
something that was.
Defer.
Okay, we'll
Before
defer
I
that.
printed them, and they
meeting.
printed them, that
Yeah,
went to the
um,
computer.
Also under other business,
After page one, it wouldn't show up. It was weird.
also under other business, the planning board at its May meeting denied the application of Merriman's to remove 2 lots from the subdivision.
Right.
There was a 2-hour hearing today before the appeals board, and the appeals board affirmed the plan commission vote
Really?
by a
Yes.
vote of 4 to 1.
That's exciting.
Well, it was considered.
Remember the whole big, oh my.
So that
It
was,
was a good process.
yeah, it was a very good process, and the only people who were enjoyed it the whole time were the lawyers. So we, because there was a
Because
lot
they're
of,
billing
By
an
the
hourly
hour.
rate.
there was a lot, yeah, and I didn't even get the bill for it. Okay,
Right, by bylaw or ordinance or something, I can't remember, I'm supposed to report on the staff review committee. The owner of Harpswell Corner Market went back to the staff review committee last week maybe. He received in 2025 approval for picnic tables after a very long discussion
Oh,
about
yes.
parking and traffic and safety.
That was like my first meeting.
It was long. And last year, he got a 1-year temporary
Yes, I
approval.
remember
It was that or make him hire a traffic engineer. So we gave him a temporary approval. I did not hear any complaints about the parking. He had no complaints about the parking. And the staff review committee, per his notice of decision in 2025, heard his application to keep the picnic tables, and we gave him an approval. As long as there's no change of use, I think it was.
right.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And then we also, Estes, the Harpswell Collective came a couple weeks before that to add a dry well, which is basically somewhere to put all of his reverse osmosis discharge water. So it's just a big pit with some rocks in it to kind of let the water percolate back into the ground. He added that, a second set of stairs, and I want to say he did something else, but that got approved also. And that's my whole story with the staff
I
review
haven't been
committee.
there, so I don't even know what's going on there.
Harpswell Collective.
Yeah.
It's going to be artist studios upstairs and then like an event space downstairs. where they might have like a gallery, they could have a commercial kitchen, they could have events, and then also food trucks outside.
Where is this?
Well, where's the parking?
Estes.
But where's the parking?
Same spot.
They're parking in the, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, they just have,
You must have been away because
Yeah.
we went all through the parking and
Okay. I don't remember the parking part. Maybe I missed
plantings.
that.
There's a
I
lot
remember
to
the
the right.
beginning of it, but I don't
Yeah.
remember parking.
he went
They
twice
came
in
multiple times.
2025, yeah.
Okay.
And then back to staff review committee. And then B, we're having a workshop tomorrow from 5:30 to 6:30 or something.
Where is that here?
It'll be in the side room
Okay.
because there'll be a select board meeting at 6.
Okay.
And it's just kind of a get to know your neighbors, sort of, get to know the process.
having?
We are,
Us?
yeah.
Did you send us an email about this?
A couple of them, yeah.
Several.
I try to not send as many emails as Mark Ironman did, but sometimes it really gets away from me.
I think,
I sent one.
I
I
didn't
sent
get
one.
several. I got one just from you and then one yesterday.
How about asking when we were available? There
I-
was
that I got.
I got that one and then didn't hear back and
Oh.
got one yesterday.
I must
So
have missed
we're
it.
Yeah.
supposed to be here tomorrow, 5:30 to 6:30.
If possible, yes.
Okay.
And if not, that's okay. We can
No, I
always
can.
meet
I
up
just-
later. It's just,
If,
it's really just about, to talk about, because we have some new members, to talk about procedure, expectations, and to kind of get an introduction on everybody.
Find out what makes you tick.
sure,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
If I hadn't shown up, it would have been because I missed.
So that's tomorrow, 5:30. The other thing we're going to talk about tomorrow night, because we need to get out of here before 9 o'clock, is,
We're gonna turn into pumpkins.
you'll never turn it, is to talk about rescheduling site visits so more people can come.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that'll be a major
Yeah, that'd be
topic of
nice.
discussion. So, is there any other business? Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.